Right, and when it comes to predictions, my track record has been less than appetising. I mean, I predicted Fulham would get relegated. I said Man United would get 7th. If we're talking Champions League, I said Napoli would be dead last in their group. And now they're looking like a favourite to win the whole thing. But it is time for the Champions League quarter-final. I did not predict the last 16. Sorry about that. I'm bloody busy. But we're going to get this done. We've got 4 major big heavyweight clashes. And this is an exciting round. We've got 7 of Europe's most elite teams. And Chelsea are there as well. So let's get on with the predictions. The first game is Benfica against Inter Milan. Benfica for me has been the surprise package of this tournament. After losing the likes of Darwin Núñez and Enzo Fernandez, most people just didn't see them coming back. But if anything, they absolutely stole a living selling those 2 players for ridiculous big fees. And they're absolutely soaring. Ramos is scoring goals for fun, and honestly, Benfica are not given enough respect. I mean, they topped a group that had PSG in it. They're probably they're the reason that PSG are now sulking. I mean, PSG could have had bloody Club Brugge. I mean, Benfica literally topped a group that had PSG in it, and then got Scott Parker sacked in the next round. But Inter Milan are a very well-drilled team. Very professional in what they do. And we can't forget that they got out of a group that had Bayern Munich and Barcelona in it. A Barcelona team that are currently top of the Liga and absolutely flying. Inter do deserve some respect, and their form's been a bit shaky as of late, which compared to Benfica, who have been very great. Benfica are away in the second leg, which might be advantage to Inter, but I think it'll be 3-1 in the first leg to Benfica, and then Inter will win it 1-0 in the second leg, but it unfortunately won't be enough, and Inter Milan will crash out the competition. The next clash, Bayern Munich against Manchester City. Oh, Man City fans, you've got to be crying. I mean, Man City watched big heavyweights in Europe like Liverpool and PSG crash out in the previous round. They saw Erling Haaland score 5 in a match, and then they saw the likes of AC Milan and Chelsea were potential opponents in the next round, and thought this could finally be the year. And then they got the worst possible draw. I mean, the way I see it is payback for how many bloody easy draws Man City get in the round of 16 every year. But could this be the year that Pep Guardiola finally doesn't overthink it and just plays his £1 million squad with his best possible team? I don't know what he's thinking half the time. But this is a return of an epic clash. Pep Guardiola against Thomas Tuchel. The sacking of Nagelsmann for me just didn't really make a lot of sense, but at least they had a plan, unlike most Premier League clubs who just sack the manager and spend about a month to get someone new in who's usually even worse than the previous person. Unless you're Aston Villa and it really works, and now Gerrard's probably crying in a bin somewhere. But I think sacking Nagelsmann was a bit annoying, so I kind of don't want Bayern to win it now, because it's I actually really liked what Nagelsmann was doing. But Bayern Munich, for me, had the best squad out of any team in the world. I mean, you look at their bench, you see the likes of Sadio Mane and Leroy Sané, players who would start for literally any other team, I reckon, in that Champions League. But Man City do have a robot at centre forward, which will be difficult. But we have seen, I mean, the guy didn't score against Bournemouth. Surely Bayern Munich, epic defence, who were able to maintain the likes of Kylian Mbappe, and Neymar in the last game, and Messi, don't forget. They were able to contain that front three very well. And I watched both legs of Bayern Munich PSG, and PSG really didn't have a lot of chances. Bayern just controlled the game, and I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to get a 0-0 away at the Etihad, and they'll win 2. But I think it will be more difficult, and I think Erling Haaland is guaranteed to score. I think Man City will actually win at the Etihad 1-0, and then away it will be 2-1 to Bayern Munich. And then it will go to penalties, where Riyad Mahrez will put the decisive penalty into the stands. I'm spot on. The third tie, it's Real Madrid against Chelsea. Talking of manager sackings that were ridiculous, Thomas Tuchel and Graham Potter's sackings were both a joke. I mean, the Tuchel one you can kind of understand because it was a board thing. the board didn't like him, so they gave him the chop. But Graham Potter, I mean, if you know anything about the career of Graham Potter and you saw him at his Norwegian club, he took a bit of time to get them up. He took time to adjust to that squad. Same thing with Brighton, but he took that team all the way from League 2 to the Europa League and beat Manchester United. I mean, he is still a top-tier manager, and I would have him any day over Southgate as the England manager. He was thrown into probably the worst possible situation. He went from probably the best organised team in the Prem to the worst organised. But now they've put Frank Lampard in charge for the rest of the season. The guy you sacked 2 years ago because you wanted to win the Champions League. And now you've got... I don't get it. And you just lost to Wolves. A team that scored like 20 goals all season. In my heart, I really want to say that Chelsea do beat Real Madrid. Real Madrid are the rock of football. You just can't get rid of them. They just keep showing up. They're so like aggregating to just bewilder because you just can't stand them. The arrogance of some of the players, but it is unreal what they are doing still to this day. There is pressure under Ancelotti, and that people theorise this could be his last season as Real Madrid boss. And I mean, he won the Champions League last year. I mean, the stands at Real Madrid are insane. Just because he's slipping a little bit in the league, and he could still win it. I know Barcelona are most likely going to win, but he's not out of contention. But can Chelsea finally turn a corner? Can Koulibaly actually not be a gnome in defence? Can the likes of Mudryk and Havertz actually learn how to score a goal? Will Enzo Fernandez actually live up to the 106 million price tag? And Enzo's actually been quite good in a Chelsea shirt, but 106 million? He'd be a steal for 40 million, but he's no better than Czech Decore. And they got him for free. Anyway. But, no. Real Madrid are going to absolutely slap them up. 3-1 at the Bernabeu. And it'll be 2-2 at Stamford Bridge in the second leg. But I'd love to see the story. It would be funny. And the final game is AC Milan against Napoli. Now, many people have written off AC Milan as just this weak team, this Europa League level team that, yeah, they beat Tottenham in the last game, but, I mean, their run hasn't been that impressive. They lost to Chelsea twice in the group stage. They can't be that good. But Napoli's form has been poor the past couple months. And they recently actually lost 4-0 to AC Milan at Naples. And most people are calling them the dark horse, just this year's answer to Ajax, a team that everyone wants to see do it. But this is going to be the biggest bottle job in history. 3-0. They're going to lose 3-0 away. And in the second leg, it will be heartbreak. They'll get 2 back, and it will be 2-2 by the end of the night. Without Victor Osimhen, they just won't be able to get through. And this will be the biggest bottle job. So my 4 semi-finalists are Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Benfica, and AC Milan. No Prem team in the semi-final. When was the last time that happened? Anyway, goodbye, lot.